So in terms of plans, a great quote here to say is, nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come, from a guy called Victor Hugo. And this is what we believe is so true for One Community Cooperatives as a vision and a strategy, and everything I've talked about. The time is now. It's the perfect opportunity. I know there's a lot of awful things going on at the moment, a lot of suffering and more and more suffering, unfortunately, and hardships is going to happen as the old systems collapse and break down. But it gives us the perfect opportunity to create and offer the new systems and services, again, not for profit, people owned. And so I'm saying this idea, the time has come now. So some of the plans for Farmacy Co-op, just to focus on that particular project, because it's the main focus at the moment. We want to be an alternative to the supermarket. So, but rather than for-profit and capitalistic, like all those big corporations, you know, as I keep repeating, not-for-profit and people-owned, but as an alternative to the supermarket, with a UK-wide, what you want to call e-commerce business. So we can access products which have been locally produced, again, organic and natural focused. And we can collect using our logistical infrastructure. We can move them to what we're called fulfillment centers. And we've got, you know, the one we've got here is in Bakewell. And we can then distribute out these products all over the country using the infrastructure. And a big believer on supporting local enterprise, and that's what we want to do. So as an alternative to the supermarket, you know, we want to create secure access for our members and the people using the co-op. And everything that they buy through us as a business is also regenerating nature, and it's helping improve their personal health. So the plans for us is continue to create these strong connections with the organic farms and other producers and suppliers, like some wholesalers that we use as well for different reasons, organic wholesalers, cooperatives as well. But our plans is to identify more local farms and producers that we can be buying from, to create more product choice. So that's what's going to happen in our plans over for the next year. More and more products will be added to create the choice and the alternative. So people, rather than go to the big corporations and the supermarkets, people can access hopefully up to 100% soon, but you know, could be 50% up, you know, for the next X amount of months. And that continues to increase. So then you could, rather than put your money into the corporations, the old systems, the problems, you can help fund with your money, help create these new systems and services. But one of, you know, big part of that is we need a new website, and it's been on a plan for the last 6 months. And, you know, I personally haven't had time to create that, but that we will be doing that next year. You know, the local collection points is a big thing. We need to be adding to that, and all these new products, and to make it more user friendly. You know, the user experience of the current website isn't great, but it does a job for the time being. So more plans for Farmacy Co-op. Fulfillment centers, as I mentioned earlier, you know, these are fulfillment centers, you know, warehousing, picking and packing operations and distribution. You know, if you can think like Amazon have them all over the country. So at the moment, we've got one national fulfillment center in Bakewell, and we are creating these blueprints, as I said earlier, so we can replicate these picking and packing and warehousing operations. We can replicate them regionally first. So not just have one here in the peaks, we can maybe have one more north, maybe one more south, so we can have, you know, so we have different operations to go from. But the idea has always been then to replicate locally. So as well as the national infrastructure, and what we need is what I keep talking about, we're locally focused. So if you can imagine, ideally in the vision, every local area has its own local, community hub, and within that is its own fulfillment center, warehousing and storing everything the community needs in case of crisis and emergency, able to pick and pack orders which are maybe done online and then can be used local distribution, local drivers and local delivery to get those orders out. But then, again, ideally people locally will be coming to that community hub to pick up their items as well. So these fulfillment centers, ideally they're part of community hubs, as I've said, but depending on the size of venue, they might not be. They might be separate operations if they're regional and quite big. So that's a big part of our plans for next year. In terms of business development for Farmacy Co-op, more standard boxes. So these are the large boxes we offer at the moment. We're going to be keeping the price at £20. Our costs keep going up, as everyone knows, but we think £20 is a place where we need to keep that. So we have to focus on lowering our costs, and there's various ways we're going to do that to make sure that we're still financially sustainable. So other types of boxes, we have more and more people asking for no potato boxes. Subscribers at the moment have a benefit of swapping an item, so we do have lots of people swapping potatoes each time, but maybe we can offer that as a separate box, a salad focused box for summer. People are asking about a British mix, so as well as fruits and veggies, maybe staple items and breads and English pasta and English grown beans and whatever it might be. So we're going to think about that. So if you've got any other ideas, let us know, and we'll put it out there to people and see what is popular. We've offered the organic staples box and the natural essentials previously, so we're going to be more focused on those for the new year as well. The create your own box. So we've been testing this out now for 6 months, and it's steadily grown. We probably every time, maybe about 25 of them, or 30 of them maybe for next week. So not huge numbers, but we've been purposely doing that bit by bit, because as you can imagine, the complexity around ordering and picking it and everything like that, rather than the standard boxes. But for next year, we have the systems now set up, ready to promote that, giving people more choice, because the feedback we had was people saying with the standard boxes, there's not enough choice, there's too much waste, my family doesn't like whatever it might be. So that offers people the choice. We have people asking for medium-sized boxes because maybe they live by themselves, but it's not commercially viable at the moment, but that's in the plans. And also a big one is reusable boxes. I know a lot of people are asking for these. We want them from a financial perspective as well, but we're not quite set up for collecting and bringing them back. And so as the distribution network evolves, then we can start offering reusable and being able to collect and bring back to central points. But some of the other areas of development, what we want to launch next year is what's called recipe boxes. So if you think HelloFresh, I know a lot of people, they've had millions and millions pumped into their marketing, so you'll probably be aware of them. So just boxes of, the ingredients to create recipes and dishes. So we're already doing this to a certain extent, with the boxes and the produce. So it would just be extra thought needed, recipe ideas and what's in those boxes. So we are thinking of doing that. Another area of development, the pre-made organic food, as I mentioned earlier. So another business that we quite like, they're called All Plants. So they're a big believer of getting people to eat more fruits and vegetables, basically. And they make Lots of different types of dishes. They've got chefs in kitchens, big kitchens making these dishes. Everything you can imagine, from mains, all like curries and you know, loads and loads of different sorts of dishes and sides and desserts and all sorts of things. And they distribute nationally. So they freeze these pre-made food and then they distribute them out frozen, and then, you know, defrost, and then you can warm them up and eat them. So if you can think that, but ours are going to be more focused locally and on organic, because theirs aren't, more local produced and then distributed out. And then the health programs, which you've mentioned already, and health products, which we're ready to launch for next year as well. Could be anything from natural supplementation, you know, freeze-dried organic fruits and vegetables and powders and teas and tonics and all sorts of different things. So next year for Farmacy Co-op, we're going to be expanding the distribution network. For the first half of next year, it's going to be expanding quite quickly. As I said, the local collection points. So every area which has a home delivery at the moment, we're going to offer a collection point for a cheaper option. But in terms of where we're going to be moving or expanding to over the next few months, offering home delivery and collection points, and we're already in these areas, but we're going to expand more thoroughly within these areas: Northamptonshire, Buckinghamshire, Hertfordshire, Nottinghamshire, more north of Yorkshire and all over Leicestershire, all over the Midlands, Wolverhampton, Coventry, etc. Chester and Merseyside is another easy one. So we are looking for more drivers locally, more regionally, girls with vans, and people who have larger vans. Maybe you could drive more nationally for us, so we do need more people. Some of the projects we've got for next year as well, in terms of the plans for pharmacy, there's different, some of the projects in terms of volunteer recruitment and management. So we're going to be doing a recruitment campaign, looking for lots of people to help us. So that will need to be all coordinated. The rewards program is a big one. So this is really going to help in terms of people with the cost of living crisis and people who have little money, no job, etc. They can still access what they need. And the rewards program, this is actually going already, but we just don't promote it because it needs coordination, and I haven't got the time to do that at the moment, where you can earn free boxes, whether it's standard boxes or additionals or whatever it might be. I'll go into that in more detail another time. And another project is the local producer network, as that would suggest. We need to develop the IT systems to support the logistical infrastructure and the operations. At the moment, we've got an Excel spreadsheet. One of the volunteers has created this Excel, which is using pivot tables, and it's, you know, it's working well, but we need a systems solution soon, very soon. We're going to convert the co-op. So we're currently a worker co-op, but we're going to convert to a multi-stakeholder co-op, as I said earlier, where everyone owns it. This is going to be at the same time as we launch an investment campaign through a platform called FX, and they do investment campaigns for social enterprises, kind of community share offering idea or concept. So when we do that at the same time, that's when we'll convert the co-op. So to really whiz over, because I appreciate time and I can feel this in my throat already. Communitas Cooperative launching next month with a video presentation, a website to come shortly after that, just a basic website. We'll have a newsletter for members of people who are interested in living in these developments. And the project will start, the first development, that first forest eco-village. We're not sure where it's going to be yet, but that's going to be dependent on what land we identify and how receptive some local authorities are. They're going to be paid opportunities with Communitas Cooperative, because the funding will be coming in, and so we'll be working on that, and there'll be volunteer opportunities as well for people to get involved, and they'll know more about that particular project. One Community Network, we're planning on launching it in July 2023, but depending on if there's specific funding that we get and we can pay for people to work on that, then it will be sooner. Video presentation coming soon on that. And again, same newsletters and members, and we'll be looking for local coordinators who, I'll go into that another time. And again, paid opportunities and volunteers needed for that. So another not-for-profit co-op which will be launched is what we're calling it One Community Logistics at the moment, but names are to be decided by the people. So the distribution network that we've got at the moment, it's going to evolve. It's the next step where it will evolve into a separate not-for-profit co-op, and it will be a logistical co-op where everyone who uses it, the members, will own it, and it'll be a separate business. Farmacy Co-op will be a customer as a sister business, but the logistical co-op will offer its services to all local businesses and individuals who can use it. Again, it's people-owned infrastructure. One Community Health, I'm not going to go into that too much now because it's more of a launching in 2024, and also there are other businesses have now been launched who are doing similar things, who share similar visions and missions, that rather than reinvent the wheel, maybe we can partner and collaborate and get this work done. But this is healthcare, natural healthcare for locally owned, and it's available to all. So yeah, we're a big believer of that. And as I mentioned earlier, early next year, we're going to be launching a recruitment campaign, looking for support volunteers, core volunteers, paid roles as well, in all areas, whether it is driving or packing and part of the operations, people with the e-commerce or marketing experience, logistics and food and farming, and many more areas. And if you've got background in those, great. But if you've not, it doesn't matter. It's not rocket science. You can still, marketing, social media. It's simple as going on social media platforms or designing nice looking newsletters. Anyone can do it, really.